Hey everyone, this is Prince Watercress, and welcome back to Let's Play King Arthur and the Knights of Justice. In the last episode, we went to the Northern Forest, we rescued the Gnome King's son, we got Tone's Key of Truth, and we found two of the elemental keys necessary to open the door that Merlin told us about. And at this point in the game throws out missions that involve you finding two keys of truth instead of one. The first one always being out in the open, and the second one being held by a warlord. Because the game only has so much memory, and the game kind of hikes it up a little bit, so they just throw two keys at a time at you halfway through. Also, since last time I went to Shield Heights, and I got about 80 shield orbs, so I can fight the next boss, because we are going to fight another warlord. And I think that's about it. Also, I got Breeze and Gallop in my party because they both have a key and a shield, so I don't have to worry about finding either item for either of those two guys. Without further ado, let's fight these guys off for the zillionth time. As you can tell, this is pretty much getting old. Also, I hate the north-facing sword slash. I hate the sword arc on it. It's awful against the wasp that we haven't fought since like the beginning of the game, and it's still annoying now. So without further ado, let's head to the map, and I want to head back to the Northern Forest. It should also be of note that we will be warping to the swamp, but we will be doing that later. We won't be doing that right now. We still want to go to the Northern Forest first for what we're about to do. We'll be doing everything else that we need to do at the swamp soon enough. So with that being said, we have to enter this little area again. And this time I'm going to take the right path. And I believe there is a bunch of grass that you can cut. I always recommend charging your attack up to its fullest so that way you can hit these guys in one shot guaranteed. I mean, they don't move, so you have plenty of time to charge it up and then whack them. Cut the grass here. Do a little service for the kingdom here. And from here on out, as soon as you're able, you want to go to the east. And from here, keep the low path. You don't want to run any blue knights. If you run into any blue knights, you went too far north. And I need Gallop for what I'm about to do. It'd be great if I had both of the guys that I have in my party with me. And I don't know why Breeze decided to be creative in getting behind me like that. But at least we can get one of these guys to show up and help us take on the rock golems. These guys do a lot of damage, a little bit of damage with their rock throws, and they also take a lot of punishment as well. You fight 3, then you fight 3 more. Once you fight all these guys off, you can pick up this little silver thing on the ground. This is the pitch blend, and we're going to need it for something that we're about to do in the swamp. Now, we could just go to the swamp like we did in the last video, but we can warp there now. So you want to go to the easternmost part of the swamp in the center there, and you'll instantly be warped to Blaze's house. We actually need to see Blaze for something. And remember when I told you you had to go where that dirt patch is in the middle of the trees, just kind of tucked in there somewhere in the Northern Forest? Well, if you don't do this, you'll have to go back over there, go to that shadow that I told you about, and then go all the way back here. Otherwise, Blaze won't be able to do anything for you. Arthur will tell Blaze that Stone Keep was a success, but he wants his help again. He tells us to promise that we'll do something for him. And that promise is to go to the bakery in Crownhorn Village and bring the Staff of Life. There's just one problem with this. The mission isn't in the game because it was excised out! Why would you keep this in if it was excised out? Anyway, we keep talking to Blaze, and turns out that shadow that we saw was indeed a floating island. And only birds can go to it because man cannot. We still have enough of the bird potion to Well, get over there. Blaze commands, turns you into birds. Fish swims through air, fly strong. I'm not quite sure what a fish has to do with anything, but okay. And enjoy the little cutscene. Yes, this is a cutscene. Arthur in bird form picks up the key automatically, and I believe that is the air elemental. Also, you're back to where the island was. And now I'm going to go back to the swamp. I could warp over to this northwestern corner, but I'm going to warp to the center instead and show you how to get there the normal way. As you can see, we're north of where the Zug is, and that's where you want to be. And pick up Eye of Noon again, because why not? And I'm just going to go ahead and follow the path down here. And then I can just go south, west, and then keep going north until I run straight into the Alchemist's house. There is another enemy that I forgot to mention. It's these little weird silver slimes that just move back and forth. You can't really attack them, but they're so easy to avoid that, well, they weren't even worth mentioning. They're also easy to get away from, too. They only show up if you hang out on the south side and just double back between areas for too long. One too many times. But if you know exactly what you're doing and you don't double back, you'll never see them. Anyway, we're at another house. This is the Alchemist's house. This is the Alchemist. And if you didn't pick up the pitch blend prior to talking to you, he introduces himself as Druis the Alchemist, and he says he needs pitch blend in order to turn lead into gold. But since we already have it, as soon as we talk to him, he thanks us for the pitch blend and he's able to continue with his work. He also says he'll give you the water key if you help on his quest, and, well, he's true to his word here, and he gives it to us. So, with that out of the way, I want to get out of this area because I can't warp from here. And it's time to head back to the Northern Forest. Okay. I should have actually went one space to the right, but I may have went too far if I did. Oh well. At least I can get a little bit of length in with today's episode. I'll at least try to. Even though I split this into two parts. And now I'm going to go ahead and take the path that I took last video, take down the mushrooms again, and we should now be able to head to Castle of Warlord as soon as we're able to find the door to it. And I do believe that I want to go to the north. I probably will run into... Okay, well, these things again. Nope, nope, nope. Definitely want to use the X button to block against these things. Oh, it still doesn't work! I guess I'm just better off just hitting them and blocking them as soon as I can. And that's not exactly where I wanted to go. I should probably just go this way, because it'll lead to the door a little more easily. Of course, we're still going to have to deal with the Blue Knights, but that's nothing. At least these two guys are cooperating this time. Oh, and the Staff of Life that Blaze was talking about was just bread. But still, why would you mention a quest that's not even part of the final game? Why would you leave details of that out? That is really, really bad. Anyway, we are now at that door. All we have to do is just get to it. There it is. Now here's what you want to do. You want to stand at the door, go to the inventory, and use all four of the keys from there. The fire key, the water key, the air key, and the earth key. Once you're there, you can just walk off the door and then walk back on it, and you're done. You are now in Castle Warlord. Very easy to get lost in here if you don't know what you're doing, but I know exactly where it is I am. From here you want to go east, then take the door to the north as soon as you see it, then you want to follow the path north again. If these guys would stay out of my way. Good. Now you want to make your way to the east. Just keep on going. There is a teleporter on the floor. You want to step on that. And beyond this door is Warlord Lucan. And believe it or not, he is easier than one would think. You want to stay away from him and his extending neck. You want to get all the way to the north wall, get hit, then face Lucan, and keep hitting him with sword orbs, not sword orbs, but shield orbs every time he stops flashing. As long as you're hitting him, he won't keep backing into you. He can still do damage to you while you're up here. But, as long as you keep attacking him, he can't do that. You're able to avoid all of his attacks, such as the extending neck and the missiles and the bombs and everything. Once again, we don't have the proper knight for this key because, well, we didn't bring Brick with us, and he probably would have fought Lucan for his key anyway, and he didn't have a shield, so he would have been doomed. Yes, we know. Time to head back to Camelot. Gotta mention the trick to getting out of here. Once you step on the teleporter pad back to here, you want to continue straight to the west, because straight to the south is a bunch of Dark Knights and a Blue Knight. I believe where this square is, just go down and you'll be back at the path that we took prior to facing Warlord Lucan. Now from here, you can just keep going south and you'll eventually end up outside. Just keep going south, you'll eventually leave. There are no enemies here, as long as you don't mess around. No enemies here either, thankfully. And with that, we can head south and east after fighting off these things, after these mist bombs of poison try to attack us, and we can head back to Camelot from there. We'll be back at the path to the gate that took us to Castle Valor if we continue on to the east, but I'm just going to go straight to Camelot, and once I get Brick into my party, I will see you over at Castle Valor where Lucan was. So without further ado, be right back. Welcome back. Since last time I took Brick, of course, Brick, and Lug with me because, well, they're pallet swaps of each other. Then again, aren't the rest of the knights just pallet swaps of each other aside from Arthur? Well, anyway, let's just go ahead and go through this door and get Brick to pick up the key in the center. And he's not being very... There he is. Alright, we now have Brick's Key of Truth, and we are now warped back to Camelot. And Merlin tells us we need to find Darren's and Lug's Keys of Truth in the region around Cranhorn Village. He feels that the Warlords have some great power over there and warns us to be careful. So we got that going against us. But that will have to wait until the next video. So join me next time where I head down to Cranhorn Village and see what's going on. Until then, this is Prince Watercress. Take care, stay safe, and thanks for watching!